Here's what I know about Susie Wiles. She is not lying for anybody, right? This is not a person I know well, but she has. But in terms of her professional reputation, you have to go forward. You have to tell. You have to be forthcoming. You have to tell them the truth. When you're in that situation, it's a little scary too. You want to make sure that you are not just answering truthfully, but being forthcoming. So it's not, I think we're surprised when we see her name because it really brings home how exposed Trump is. It's not that surprising that Susie Wiles is somebody that the Justice Department is talking to, but then it makes you appreciate, oh, right, if they're talking to Susie Wiles, they're talking to everyone around him, and how, and two things about that, how exposed he is, because these are, she's a serious person who is not going to take a bullet for Donald Trump. She's going to do the right thing here with the Justice Department. And then also, if she was exposed to classified information and, apparently her firm has ties with China, who else saw classified information that might be relevant to people they lobby for, or may in fact be foreign nationals themselves? And you can imagine in the course of the trial how the Justice Department, the prosecutors will start laying this out to show just how Trump put us and national security at risk. And like when you see these details, it sort of clicks in. Oh, right. They could really show the damage that he did, not just in the abstract, talking to staff people and showing them, but how it may have exposed us beyond that circle.
Well, and we've heard from the beginning that Jack Smith has more information than he certainly led on to. Every prosecutor tells you that is always the case. Here, we have just a glimpse, just a brief glimpse of the recklessness that Donald Trump has shown with war plans. And Jonathan Lemire, this is just our Reverend Al. Let me go to you, Reverend Al. This is just when the tape recorder is on for this book. But we have no idea all the days and weeks and months that he had some of America's most classified secrets, that he had nuclear secrets, that he had secrets about America's weaknesses, that he had secrets about, our war plans to attack. He had secrets, on all of these things. We only know this because he let somebody record a conversation that he had. And we learn in just this brief glimpse, this second that we have on tape, that he's showing classified documents to a campaign manager. I wonder how much more information Jack Smith has, especially through testimony, about those documents and all the people he's shown them to.
There's no telling, but given the record that all of us know of Jack Smith, it would be safe to assume that he's got a lot more that he's going to bring out. But I think that a lot of Americans are beginning to see, with many of us that have known Donald Trump before he was president, the recklessness in Donald Trump to be showing these classified documents, things that, as you said, Joe, talk about enemies of the country, potential people that engaged in war, just to get some braggadocio over to somebody writing a book, and you're being taped. I mean, they weren't secretly taping him. He was doing an interview for these that are doing a memoir for his former chief of staff, but he's so insecure and so in need of saying, I'm legitimate, as he said, I'm valid. Look at the information I have. Look at, I was really the head of the Western world. And to have this kind of person in charge of the country is a threat to all of us. And I think that those that are supporting him to go back in the White House ought to consider the mentality of this man.
Well, and you look at the doddering, rambling, nonsensical explanations, or you listen to him, Willie, that he gives in interviews about what he was doing when it was evident by listening that he was showing these documents. And you understand that he knows he's cornered. He knows he's cornered. These people aren't going to lie for him unless they want to. If they want to go to jail for a decade, they can. Susie Wiles, if she wants to lie, she can go to jail. I mean, the rest of the people around him can go to jail, but people have talked. And the people who have talked, we've said this from the beginning, whether it's to Jack Smith or whether it's to the January 6th committee, they're all Trumpers. They're all people that are around him. They're all people that have worked for him. If he lies, and he will lie, and his defense attorneys knows, he just lies, he's going to get himself in even more trouble. The legal experts I've talked to over the past week who have at times been a bit skeptical that this is going to end badly for Donald Trump, I've all pointed to the tape that came up this past week and said, yeah, this is about as bad as it gets. And they don't see a happy ending for Donald Trump in this battle with Jack Smith.